Welcome to the Fleet Geeks podcast. We're here to help develop fleet and transport professionals. Do you want to progress and develop your skills and knowledge? We promise to bring lively conversation and debate around interesting issues and keep you bang up to date with changes in our awesome industry. The Fleet Geeks are a community of professionals, and if you enjoyed the podcast, why not join the discussion for free in the Fleet Geek community over on Facebook?
Different types of operator's licenses. There are 3 types of operator licensing in the UK, and Jamie and Mike and myself are here to explain each one of those for you. So who wants to kick it off with restricted operator's license?
Yeah, I don't mind taking that one, gents, if that's okay. Having watch this space, having been a transport manager for a restricted licence holder, just hold that thought for a second. And so I'll kick off with a restricted operator's licence. So what is a restricted operator's licence? So essentially, if you're moving goods from A to B and there is no C, there is no third party in that movement, then a restricted operator's licence may be something that you can apply for. So essentially, we hear a lot of people talk about own account. You're moving goods on your own account. So they're goods that might be your goods that you've manufactured and you're now moving to your customers, or goods that you've bought in to sell to your customers, or goods that or things that you're sort of changing in some sort of way, shape or form, processing, or, like for example, a laundry. You're collecting laundry from hospitals, you're bringing it back to your laundry, you're washing it and you're sending it back to your hospital. So own goods, you're moving goods from A to B and there is no third party involved in that. You're receiving no payment for that transport piece. So that kind of is restricted operator's licence, and the criteria for obtaining a restricted operator's licence is slightly less onerous, I would argue, than obtaining a standard national or a standard international license. So hopefully does that describe a restricted license?
I think that's pretty much hit the nail on the head, hasn't it? Yeah, there's lots of examples out there, but what I would suggest to people, you can actually do a goods vehicle operator search, and you can search restricted operators, and they will come up being builders merchants or fruit and veg sellers at the market. It's those people that are moving their own goods. Jamie, how about standard national?
Standard national, I'll let you finish. So, yeah.
I was going to say, I've stitched myself there with standard international. I'm basically just going to go what Jamie said, but internationally. And then
going abroad.
Mic drop. No, carry on, mate.
So standard national then. So, yeah, it's obviously haulage from A to B, but can go to C. Delivering goods, you can deliver your own goods, like you can on a restricted operator, but also delivering other people's goods as well. Bit more onerous as well. You will need a transport manager with a national CPC or an international as well. More onerous, need more financial standing as well than you will for a restricted operator. I will go into the figures if I can remember. It's 8,000, I think, for the first vehicle, isn't it? And then 4,100.
4,500.
4,500 for the other vehicles. Whereas it's obviously less.
It's a bit less, isn't it? Is it like 6 and 3, something like that? I'll tell you what, Jamie, you keep talking and I'm going to Google it.
For what?
Financial standing for a restricted.
3,100 and 1,700.
Oh, there.
There you go. So
Who's the trainer of transport manager CPC in the room?
Quite interesting, is it? Because they can be exactly the same vehicles that you're operating.
Exactly the same vehicles.
There you go. That's a story.
That is baffling, actually, isn't it? That is for another episode.
There's a whole new episode written on that.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Pete from Flagship Partners. We're really proud to sponsor the Fleet Geeks podcast. Flagship Partners offer a range of consultancy and training services to ensure that our customers remain compliant and have the best possible knowledge to be able to fulfill their work. If you're interested in support with any of our safety, HR or compliance services, or you want to train to be a transport manager or need driver CPC training, give us a call today.
Much the same. It's operating centre, obviously. Be reviewed every 5 years on a standard national, and obviously transport manager will have to have their CPC. So there's a few more things to do. but generally the same.
I always describe as hoops to jump through. You've got a few more hoops to jump through for a standard license than you have for a restricted license. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I get the short straw with standard international, which is the third type. Very much like how Jamie's just explained the standard national, but the standard international, the requirement would be that you need to have a international qualified transport manager CPC holder. Largely speaking, I don't know how many years, I'm sure Michael correct me, how long
2011.
Since 2011 it's been a combined transport manager CPC. If you passed your exam prior to that, you could have taken either or, the national or international.
I took my national, the exam before
it changed over. Unlucky, unlucky.
Very unlucky.
That is unlucky, isn't it? Yeah. So, if we need Jamie to do some international work, he's going to have to go and sit the exam again.
We'll soon arrange that.
But yeah, the standard international is essentially the same thing, but you're able to go abroad, and that's obviously alongside that you'll need additional ECMT certificates and bits and pieces. I probably ought to go back over to Mike for some of the permits that you're going to need on the international. Whilst I'm an international qualified CPC holder, I actually haven't really ever done that much international type stuff with any of my clients, so to speak.
I've been to the Isle of Wight, but it's not quite international, is it?
It's not the island once,
it crosses the water. But international is it used to be the preserve of course, there was a group of hauliers that would sort of specialise in that kind of thing. It's dropped off over the years, isn't it? But of course, we've got the spectre now of the vans coming into scope.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you operate internationally with vans, anything over 2.5 ton, that's now in scope. So that's kind of reawakened that international operators license thing again, isn't it?
And I think interestingly, I think a lot of since the international and national were merged on the CPC point of view, I actually think many operators have just gone for standard international when they've applied, because there's not really any difference in the hoops necessary to jump through. So I think you'll find that a lot of standard international operators who probably don't even go international.
I can concur with that. I think, a company, a lovely, well-known, lovely local company that I used to work for, we had a standard international operator's licence, and we literally never, we covered every single blade of grass in the UK, but never went abroad. And I asked the boss there once why, and he said, why not? And you never know, So as you say, there's no extra. There's not really a great deal of difference.
It saves changing it at a later date.
And even more so with Brexit as well. I bet there's lots who just pulled out of Europe after Brexit as well and just didn't want to deal with the extra aggro. I'm sure there's. I don't know the statistics, and I think it'd be tricky to actually really understand the statistics, because people won't have applied to change their licence. They'll have just left their licence and actually just stopped operating in Europe. But I imagine it's huge. I think actually there's probably a real curtailment in the number of people who actually go out to Europe now, I would think, in comparison to what it was. I think a lot of people dabbled with it and probably would have done bits and pieces and then just decided, we'll stick to the UK.
But retain their standard international license.
Exactly, absolutely. Right then, that's tied that one up, and that's led nicely onto our next episode. Hopefully you'll enjoy our next episode, where we look in more depth around the restricted operator's licence, and we try and get our heads around the requirement for a transport manager and a restricted operator's licence. So thank you very much for listening. Hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please share with your friends and colleagues too. Join us for free on Facebook with the Fleet Geeks community for transport and fleet managers. Fleet Geeks offers ongoing professional development, networking and mentoring too. So get in touch with me, Pete Rushmer, on any social media platform to find out more.